Hey, Insanely Awesome Nation, Sunil Saxena coming to you from my home studio here, so hopefully you like it. Hopefully I look good and I sound good here as well. Today what I want to talk to you about is what I call the 20X mindset. Now this is another very important foundational element that you have to have if you want to be extremely successful and you want to live an insanely awesome life. So let me talk to you a little bit about this, give you a few examples, and hopefully you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Now, first of all, this mindset, it comes to us from the Navy SEALs, as far as I know. I've read a number of books that have been written by Navy SEALs, and they almost always talk about this. There's a guy named Mark Divine. He has a number of books out there. He's an ex-Navy SEAL who runs a training program out in California, I believe. So if you want to check out some of his books, I know he definitely talks about it in his books. Now, the idea here is that you are capable of 20 times what you think you are. You are absolutely capable of 20 times what you think you are. Now, at first, if you haven't really thought about this mindset or really kind of drank the Kool-Aid or believed in this mindset, you might be like, "What are you kidding me?" But trust me, once you start diving into this and you start doing it and experiencing, you will realize that you are capable of 20 times what you think you are. So, for example, if you told me right now, if I told you I could run a mile pretty comfortably, and you said, you are capable of running 20 miles, initially I would probably be like, really, 20 miles? That sounds like a long way. But having experienced this 20X mindset and having gone through this cycle many times in other areas, I will be like, you know what? I know I can do it if I just put my mind to it. I really will not have a lot of hesitation. A personal example for me is doing push-ups. About I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, I tried to get, started getting in shape, and I'm actually in fairly good shape right now. And I started doing push-ups, and really doing like 1 or 2 was probably the max I could do. And really right now I can do probably about 100 push-ups if you give me about, I haven't been training right now, so maybe about 5 minutes to do it. But when I was training, I could probably do that in about 2 minutes. So that's something that really opened my eyes. And while it has really nothing specifically to do with my business and all the other things I do in my life, it's just the fact that I went through that process. Now I realize, man, no matter what you give me, I probably am capable of 20X. I actually believe that. So that's a very, it's an important belief to start establishing, and I'll talk a little bit later about, some ideas of how to do that. Another great example of this is a guy named Fuja Singh. He's an Indian guy who actually started running marathons after the age of 100. So just let that sink in for a sec. After the age of 100, he started running marathons. Most people I know that are 100 are either dead or are not even close to running marathons. So again, his idea was he just started very with very small steps, so to speak, just running a quarter of a mile, a half a mile, and just kept going, and actually ran a marathon. So it's pretty amazing what you can do once you shift your mindset and really start believing in what I call and what the Navy SEALs call the 20X mindset. Now, this also applies to anything. It applies to finances. If you're making 100 grand a year, and I told you you're capable of making $2 million a year, most people without this mindset would just be like, you're crazy. They would just move on to the next thing and just forget the whole conversation ever happened. People with the 20X mindset go, you know what? I really can do this. So, what I would encourage you to do is just start, thinking about this mindset, get some of the books from the Navy SEALs if you so desire, and really start embracing and living this mindset. So one of the great ways to do this is find what you're most afraid of. Find what takes you out of your comfort zone, whether it's physical challenges, whether it's public speaking, whether it's talking to people in social situations, whatever it is, find that and start trying to, go from where you are to 20X. So again, if it's physical challenges, push-ups, running, sit-ups, pull-ups, whatever it is, work yourself physically, and that will tell your mind that you're capable of these things, and really allow this 20X mindset to become part of you. And remember, the mindsets I talk about, this is not something you can just read a book and 20 minutes later you have it. It's not like a 2 + 2 = 4, which once I tell you that, you got it, okay, great, let's move on. These are things that have to they have to seep into you, they have to creep into you, and they just slowly over time kind of become part of who you are. Another great example I always think of is the late Arnold Palmer, great golfer. Most golfers and non-golfers know who Arnold Palmer is. It's not the drink I'm talking about; it's the golfer. He was really afraid of flying, and that was a big problem for him. And he, over time, just became an expert pilot and used to fly himself to golf tournaments and meetings. He used to take his friends, including Jack Nicklaus, along to golf tournaments. So just another example of someone adopting this 20x mindset, that I am capable of 20 times more than I think I am, or that I'm doing right now. So going from completely terrified of even getting in an airplane to actually becoming a master pilot, to me, is a 20x move. And this is really what you need to be ultra successful. You need to go from where you are today to this 20x. And the first step is the belief. It's just believing you can do that. So what I would recommend is always have something you're working on that you're trying to 20x. Again, whether it's fitness, finances, personal relationships, whatever it is, that's very important. Another concept, Jim Collins in his book Good to Great talks about BHAGs. I love BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. So it's BHAG, which stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goals. Again, if you haven't read his book, please, as soon as this video is over, just go get the book and read it. It's another one of those great books I think everybody should read. And the important thing, the reason I bring this up is that most of these big goals, if you want to live in what you consider an insanely awesome life, whatever that means to you, there are probably, most likely, there's some BHAGs in there. There's these big goals. You want to be making $1 million a year. You want to have some great relationships. Whatever those BHAGs are, right now you may think like they're just too far away. They're just too big. The mountain is too big. But that's why, if you really want to accomplish some of these big, hairy, audacious goals, you need to adopt the 20x mindset. And, what I alluded to earlier is that trust me, it gets easier every time you do it. So if you start with, let's say, push-ups, and you conquer that, then that trains your mind to say, you know what, I can do this for whatever you give me next, whether it's, again, financial, relationships, flying a plane, whatever it is, that is something that it allows your brain to not have that. You'll always be kind of scared when you first take it on, but you quickly go, you know what, I did this before, I got this, let's move on and just start taking action. And you kind of put your head down and you just start climbing that huge mountain, and you get maybe a quarter of the way up the mountain, and you go, wow, the mountain doesn't look as big as I thought it did when I was way down there. So again, something very important. I would encourage you to read the couple of books that I mentioned in this video, because it'll help really get you deeper into this mindset. But to me, this is extremely important. Without this, you really can't be successful. You have to believe that you're capable of 20 times what you're doing right now, or what you think you can do. And once you start believing it, drinking the Kool-Aid or whatever you want to call it, then all of a sudden now you're setting yourself up. You're creating an environment that massive success can happen. If you don't have this, the environment doesn't exist. Again, it's like a school, right? It's an environment for learning. Now it at least allows you to learn. If you don't even have a school, then it's very difficult to learn, so to speak. In the physical sense, obviously we have the internet and things now, which is a different. We live in a different world now. But anyways, that's really it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you take this 20x thing seriously. I hope whatever you're working on, you set a 20x goal and you just start marching towards it and just accomplish it, and the next one's going to be easier, and the next one after that's going to be easier, and it just gets progressively easier until this just becomes what you do every day, and it just becomes part of who you are. So again, go out there, be insanely awesome today. Whatever you're working on, just crush it, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.